Hi there, it's Kaizen, your favorite Madrid milker. And I am glad to say that Jingg is officially back. I had to double take a couple of times to make sure that it wasn't April 1st. Not trying to get fooled out here, but according to this tweet, and it looks legit, and it's not April Fool's, so it's safe to say that Jingg is going to be playing in Split 1 of Pacific in 2024. And according to this tweet, this is the official roster heading into those matches. And I guess PRX were so excited about this news that they decided to extend Jingg's contract till 2026, which is good to see because it's always a nice thing to see players get paid and have that kind of job security in esports, which is a rare thing to happen. But the question is, how did this even happen? Wasn't Jingg supposed to be doing military service? Well, apparently he got exempt from it because of a medical condition that he's been battling for his whole life, which on paper I have to say kind of comes out of nowhere, maybe a little fishy, but at the end of the day, we never know. It's not fair to speculate and we probably shouldn't. In the tweet, PRX mentioned that this is a personal and private matter, so for us not to go digging in too deeply into it. There are some people who are making jokes that the government saw all the I miss Jingg posts on Twitter and Reddit, or that there are some people in the Singaporean government that are a big fan of the team and wanted to see them succeed, which would be pretty funny if it kind of turns out to be the case, but we'll never know for a fact. I think we're all just happy that Jingg is back. However, this does suck for Monyet, seeing how he's on the reserve team. I don't really think he deserves to be benched, and I think there's a good case for him to still be on this team, which I will explain later. But before I do, let's talk about his Raze performance, because that was one of the main reasons why he was brought on to this team in the first place. And he did struggle a little bit in the beginning, but towards the end of the tournament, we saw flashes of him just clicking pretty well with the team. And I think part of that was because Heretics poked the bear and helped the team get a Zenkai boost in the process. Shoot, even if you look at his race stats against Sentinels, you can say he did better than Zekin, right? The man had a plus 14 KD, plus 4 first kills, first death ratio as well. He was on fire and he was looking like the truth. However, we got to look at the whole picture. And throughout the tournament, like I said beforehand, he did struggle on this agent. And in my opinion, he kind of passes the eye test where he has very good and unique util management, and he's able to get onto sites too. He was able to do things that other players weren't able to pull off, or we just didn't really see too much of. And it looked cool in the process too, right? It was just unfortunate that his frags were kind of lagging behind, especially some of his other stats too, right? Just in the past 30 days, he went -17 overall when comparing his first bloods to the amount of times he died first on the team. So that's not really good. His overall average combat score was 196, which isn't completely horrible, right? Me personally, I think 200 is that magic number of a player doing decent in a round or even in a tournament. And last time I checked, 196 isn't too far off from 200. Some people might have a different number, that's fair. However, I think we can agree that 196 isn't really a championship winning number, especially for PRX's playstyle that leans heavily into duelists just doing their thing with W King and getting kills, you know? And when you compared him to all the other Razes in the tournament, that average combat score is 8. I do have to mention that everyone on Raze played 100 rounds. Actually, only 3 players played over 100 rounds in the tournament, but he still comes in last compared to all 3 of them, which is also kind of interesting to see, right? Kong Kong was pretty high up there too, but to get back on the topic, I still think he doesn't deserve to be benched. The main reason is because he did pretty good on Omen. If you look at his average combat score and his average damage per round, it was second best among all other Omens. He was only falling behind Tens, and that means he did better than Charon and Mindfreak in the process. And his assists on this agent was the 3rd most, only being beaten by Tens and slightly edged out by Charon. And Omen is a more meta pick than Raze currently too. So I think just based on these numbers, he can still provide huge value for not just this team, but others in and out of the region. So I personally don't think people should be sleeping on him, or nor should he be forgotten, just because of what he's shown us on Omen. However, the problem is fielding a 6-man roster rarely ever works, you know? It's most likely him or Mindfreak. Again, I'm just a fan of the sport. I'm not an expert. No one's paid me for advice. Probably never will either. This is just my opinion. And I would rather see him on Omen than Mindfreak. But PRX already made their choice. They could change it in the future. And I don't think anyone would really be mad if they kept with Mindfreak throughout the whole tournament. because at the end of the day, team dynamics and synergy is very important for an organization's success. At the end of the day, the main story here is the fact that Jingg is back and can provide a huge value for this team. Man, oh man, I can't wait to see him in the future. I really hope we get another Sentinels versus PRX matchup again. It will be an instant classic just to see Zekken and Jingg go at it too. We've seen the crazy things that this man was able to do last year.
Duelist over towards Tree.
Yep. They're not worried, are they? They're going up against a half-bite. Stunts.
Oh! No way! Oh! Jingg, your movement is just impeccable.
Here, very much so now for the side of NRG as Divine does get domed. Crash going to be committed and everything, and now it's just going to be the full shift. Nearby, though, is Jingg. Showstopper at the ready. Looking to catch one. Does find him. Spike now going to be dropped down onto the ground. Showstopper, and he's saying, you've got no time to work with. Sends out the Showstopper. Crashy's going to be dead. Cleans up Finesse. And the round victory is in the hands of Jingg. A 4K to tie it up at 3-3. Them up for a brief little moment here. Bounce on the Nanoswarm into the corner. Batasi finds the third. Forsaken taken down. Tense finds one yet. Jingg, however, comes up with 3. Finds himself in a 1v1. Jingg gets the 4K clutch. And we are going to overtime.
I think the fan base really wants to see PRX lift the trophy, and having probably last year's best Raze in the world on the team is a good step in that direction. Shoot, you could say the whole region in general wants it too. And don't get me wrong, Genji's story was nice and everything, but you can only get second or third place so many times before people get tired of it, or those choking allegations just become the main narrative around a whole region, which I don't think is fair, because Pacific as a whole has a lot of talented players who can provide value and win in basically any other region in the world. It's just ridiculous that they haven't been able to do it yet. The timing for all of this is kind of weird as well, because on one hand you want to get Jingg back into the fray as soon as possible, especially since his last official tier 1 tournament was August 26, 2023, over 200 days ago. But on the flip side, the first 3 matches in Split 1 is probably going to be their hardest during the group stages, where first they got T1, who is a team that you shouldn't sleep on, Genji, who beat them in the 2 previous matchups, and then Team Secret, who pushed Genji the most, in my opinion, during Pacific's kickoff, right? On one hand, you could be like, oh, this would be a great litmus test to see how much better PRX has gotten with Jingg, but at the same time, 200 days is a long time, guys. Right, and yeah, they played some off-season tournaments. I'm not too sure how much value you should be putting into off-season tournaments. I think they're a different beast than official tier 1 tournaments and games. So it is kind of interesting that they're just kind of throwing Jingg back into the fray against possibly their 3 hardest matchups during the group stages. I still think they should move on to playoffs because they're in the Omega bracket. Basically the Omega group plays against the Alpha groups first, and then during Split 2, the teams within each other's group are going to face each other. It's a little bit complicated. It will make more sense once the matches start happening. But out of these organizations, let's be honest, who do you think is going to move on, right? Obviously there's DRX as a favorite to move on, and then who else do you have? Maybe Talent Esports, right? Then RRQ and Zeta Division. Definitely shouldn't be DFM. If DFM somehow makes it out of this group, I think the script writers need to slow down with that. But me personally, out of all these teams, I see DRX. I want to lean towards Talent Esports, but that's me being a little biased. I like their content. I've been watching a lot of their content. They're pretty cool people. So take that with a grain of salt. I think most people will have RRQ moving out instead of Talent, but I'm gonna go with Talent and then PRX, right? Not in any order. Those would be my 3 teams that I see moving out. Maybe we could see Zeta Division hit another Zenkai boost and do some work and some magic. But then the other question is, what are some other changes that's going to happen, right? Because obviously having Jingg on Raze is going to be a major upgrade, right? No shade to Forsaken, but I think Jingg can perform high at a more constant level than him, and Monyet too. But one of my favorite comps that PRX were running was Sunset, right? Where they had no duelists. It was just so cool to see all the Grim Walls, as well as them just working the map with double controller and double initiator. And they made it work quite well. They just lost the Sentinels, but they were able to beat a lot of other great teams on this map with this comp. I don't remember the last time Jingg played a non-duelist role, you know? But at the end of the day, it's Jingg, so maybe you do make exceptions for that. But yeah, you guys let me know down below how you feel about this news. Are you excited? How long do you think it will take for Jingg to get back into the groove of things? And do you think this makes Pacific the #1 team in the region again? But yeah, you guys let me know down below what you're most excited for, where you rank PRX now. But till then, stay safe, and I'll be yapping in the next one.